And Jessica, welcome. And our first question is, tell us a little bit more about yourself. So thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you, Millie. Thank you, Tracy. So, my healing journey has been one that has been, probably a couple decades now. I think it started probably with chronic pain and anxiety, and I started with yoga and really found a love for yoga. And it helped me gain some confidence and feel better, in my own body and in the world, really. And in 2016, I made the next step and moved to Miami because where I'm from, as you mentioned, in Chicago, the cold just really hurt my bones and it wasn't helping this pain that I had. And I was like, you know what? Why do I have to go on vacation every year? Like, why can't I just wake up and feel like I'm in vacation every single day of my life? And so my path to moving down here was to go to school. I applied for the University of Miami. It's the only school that I applied for. I just felt very aligned and it resonated with me. I visited the campus. It was gorgeous. I was like, yes, this is it. And waited and waited and waited, and I wasn't accepted, and just like waiting. And finally, 3 weeks before school started, admissions called me and they um took me off the wait list and they admitted me. So I was scrambling back in Chicago to get everything, together. I had a house, just trying to pack everything. And I moved down here. I knew nobody. I had nowhere to live. So I was in a hotel for a couple weeks, just trying to figure it out. But nothing felt more aligned to me. Like I just knew that it was right. And it was scary, but I didn't even feel that fear inside me just because I felt like it was just so right for me. So I did the MBA and landed my dream job at Royal Caribbean. My background is in hospitality and beverage, so constantly working with people, developing systems, policies, procedures, handling employee issues, complaints, setting up incentives, etc. So working with a lot of people. And I landed this job at Royal Caribbean. I was like, yes, like I knew it. And worked like a dog, loved it, went on the ocean, worked on the shore, and then COVID hit. So that put a very quick end to my dream job in the cruise industry. So here we are in 2020, and I'm like, oh man, I just don't know what to do. And at the same time, I remember I was on my last cruise. It was the last cruise before all the ships, were held. There were no more cruises. I was on the last one. And my one of my cat, Fiona, her doctor called and said that she had lymphoma. So I got laid off and I found out my cat had cancer pretty much at the exact same time. And I wanted to offer her holistic healing. And so when I heard sound bowls in yoga, I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. And I just really loved the sound of it. I felt the power of it and I just felt really connected. So I purchased my first sound bowl. And Fiona would just lay there and she just loved the sound and I would play for her and she just was like, she was addicted just like I was. And I finished purchasing each of the bowls for the set, and my yoga studio that I was going to ask me if I wanted to start doing sound healing sessions. So I said yes. So I started doing these weekly sessions. More and more people came. I saw the power of sound. I saw how people were affected by this. And it was just like a win-win for all of us. And I felt like I was missing one, like I was missing something though. And so that's when I got into Reiki. Around the same time, I also had hired somebody to come and do Reiki for my cat. And I just was like, I could do this. And I wanted to be able to just offer a little bit extra healing hands-on through the sound healing practice. Just I wanted another tool in my toolbox. And this is something I say all the time is like the more tools you have in your toolbox when life goes the way the opposite way of what you want it, like you have these tools to grab so you always feel safe and secure and you have coping mechanisms. And so Reiki was one of those for me. I did the Reiki 1 and I did the self-healing and I was able to reflect and I was able to use it on myself, and Reiki 2 started to use it on the animals and use it in my sound healing sessions. And what I really like about it is that before I start a sound healing session is I do the Reiki symbols in my hands. And so for me, when I'm playing the instruments, the Reiki is being channeled and the sound is being infused with the Reiki energy. So everybody's receiving it, you know, and it's easy. It's something so simple yet so powerful. And so you know, here I am. And this is what I do full time is I help people relax through scent and sound. And Attunergy offers both aromatherapy and sound healing products and services. And they really go hand in hand. You know, when we want to feel better fast. We don't want to wait weeks, months to feel better. We want it right now. And aromatherapy and sound healing and Reiki are almost a quick fix. You feel better right away. They directly affect our limbic system. They release neurotransmitters. You just have this surge of positive emotion and feelings. And so that's why I like it and I gravitate towards it. And I've just seen incredible results from it. And so it just propels me to continue to do it more and more.
That's wonderful. And for a little backstory, I was blessed to meet Jessica online through her online sales and her store on Etsy. So, and I agree with her. And she has a beautiful line of products that I think are very well placed and well intended. So that's, you know, very, very meaningful to me and why I agree wholeheartedly with your with your thoughts and your approach there. So again, you know, you talked a little bit about this already. You know, when did the Reiki come into your life? And, you know, how have you been developing that side of it along
Yeah.
with your vibrations and your scent business?
Yeah. I just feel like they all complement each other so well. It's hard for me to have one without the other. I would say that Ricky's been in my life for maybe a little over 2 years now. Um, and yeah, I find myself, you know, even when my cat is not feeling good, or I visit my grandma over the weekend and she has like a blockage in her heart, I just immediately find myself kind of going to this modality. And she told me like, "Oh, Jessica, you're not going to be able to put me to sleep. Nobody can hypnotize me." That's what she calls it. And I was like, "All right, Nana, we'll see about that," you know? And then in like just a couple seconds it took for her to fall asleep and to feel really relaxed and just get that deep healing. Um, so yeah, I would say a couple years that Reiki's been in my life, and how I incorporate it now is through sound healing, but every other month I also facilitate a Reiki and sound circle that's in
Okay.
South Miami. It's
Mhm.
myself and usually about 3 other healers that come. Everybody receives one-on-one Reiki and sound healing. We do, you know, meditation, mindfulness, intention setting, depending on kind of what the theme of the event is. But that's something that's really a beautiful experience for people.
Oh, wonderful. Time I'm in Miami, I'm going to have to maybe get my time coordinated with that. I'd love to attend something like that. Well, we all know um, being in energy healing is all the pluses and all the bonuses. But the other next question I have is one that comes up frequently is what is the common misperception about your work?
Mm.
So we all face a lot of that out
Yeah.
there. You know, grandma is not allowing you to hypnotize her.
um Yeah, you know, it's funny because I see that question in two ways. The first is that those who are interested are attracted to me, right? Like, you know, the people that are called to me are already on their way. There are people that are maybe curious that ask questions and maybe they don't end up committing to something like that. But I think of myself even and how my spiritual journey started and the questions and the doubts that I had about it. But I think the biggest part is just planting those seeds, because you plant the seeds and then it ends up for a lot of people kind of coming full circle later in life. Some of the doubts maybe, or the questions that I receive are just like, you know, what is it? Is it for everybody? Who cannot have it? What are the limitations? But more and more and more, especially in Miami, in my community, people are open to this. People are, tired of depending on pills every single day. People are tired of feeling like crap every day. People want relief, and they are more open to these holistic alternatives, to these methods of healing that have been around for so long, that are just now starting to kind of trickle into the United States. And we're like, yes, like finally. So I think that it's just becoming more accepted, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. Now, if I went to Tennessee, where my family's from, I don't know if it would have the same response there, but in my community down here, it's just a huge spiritual melting pot, and so it's really beautiful to be a part of something like that. But my thing is always like, why don't you try it? And if you don't like it, then don't do it again.
That's always on the table, I know. And generally, I find that once I get somebody started in a process, in a program, they're pretty receptive to it. They
Hmm.
don't always want everybody to know they're coming.
Yeah,
They are
right.
very receptive to it. So, along with that, what do you wish your younger self knew about your current profession?
Hmm. Sometimes you just fall into this like fear and doubt and victim mentality of, we compare ourselves to other people so often, and we wish we had this and that. And I think what I learned more and more that my younger self could have benefited from was just to believe everything's going to be okay. When you start feeling this like anxiety, it's just like everything's gonna be okay. The world, the universe, God, whatever you call it, is gonna take care of everything. Everything is perfectly aligned. If I wouldn't have gotten laid off from my dream job, I wouldn't be sitting here even talking to you right now. So it's just funny how things happen. And when it's happening to us, we don't understand, we don't get it, we're confused, we're hurt, we're disappointed. But if we can just hang on a little bit until kind of the miracle happens, until we can really step back and be a little bit more objective about the situation, it helps a lot, like just to decrease that impulsivity a little bit, and just be open to seeing like, where is this taking me? What is the lesson in this? And maybe even have a little bit excitement about like where I'm going, what's going to happen. Like, I don't like this. This feels uncomfortable, but I trust that it's going to be okay because it's always been okay in the past.
Yeah, beautifully put, too. Very positive.
Not easy all the time, but I'm definitely
No.
not perfect at it.
Well, you know what I always say, and I know Tracy echoes this sentiment, we're only human,
Hmm.
so we're going to fall back to that level that we're used to, and we've grown up with, and then sometimes you got to say, those are my opportunities. If I hadn't gotten laid off, probably wouldn't have the time to pursue what I really,
Yep.
really feel naturally drawn to. So,
Yeah.
I've been in that situation. I know others have been there, and it's always turned out. I always say it'll turn out. It always does. So,
Yeah.
so along with that, what's the in your opinion, what is one of the biggest challenges the industry is facing today?
Hmm. Well, I know that some states are trying to regulate. I think it was Massachusetts, perhaps somewhere in the Northeast coast, is trying to regulate Reiki. And I know that there's some mixed feelings about that. Um, some of the other challenges would just be that, it's a challenge, but it's also a blessing, is that more and more people are jumping into this. So you could say that there's, potentially some sort of, I don't want to use the word competition because I don't believe that that's the case, but just more and more teachers and more guides to choose from, so it can be kind of overwhelming. Um, and also sometimes what I've seen is that people charge a little bit too much, I feel like. And so it becomes unattainable to just like the average person. Like if you're laid off and you really need healing and all of a sudden like you can't access these types of um, you know, modalities, like then what's the point of providing it? So, or having like these tools that you can offer, but only for like the elite and the wealthy. So for me, I have like a range. I have like by donation classes, I have some lower price, groups, and I have some individual one-on-one session prices. So I have kind of an array of services that I'm able to offer to meet you where you're at. And I think that people just need to be kind of a little bit aware of that, and to be able to offer this, because like what is the intention behind it? If the intention is to get rich and to make a lot of money off of it, I think that your pathways are crisscrossing a little bit, because the intention is to help others. And sure, there's a price scale for these types of things, and I understand that, but is there an opportunity to help people at a lower basic level at some point and in some way? I think that's really important in the industry as it continues to grow, and as there continues to be, more competition. Like with competition comes these price battles sometimes, right? I mean, we see it in corporations. So just to be mindful of that, and just like, why am I doing this? I think that's going to be important moving forward.
Mhm. Yeah, I always see a lot of that when I was in the medical industry before this, and you would see where people lost the vision as to why they got into it in the first place, and
Yeah.
you know, you'd work really hard to bring them back into alignment with that. So they were excited every day to come to work,
Yeah.
and to help others. And that's a great explanation. So for you though, what are some of the qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner?
Mm. One of my biggest qualities that I look for is to ensure that um my practitioners that I work with, whether it's for my own healing or to use them, to hire them for other group events, is that they have their own healing practice. I don't really want to be associated with people that are not filling their own cup with self-love and self-care and continuing on their own path. There is no end goal. Once we think we've discovered every shadow in our closet, like there is another one there waiting for you. So, you have to continue to do your own work. You have to continue to do your own self-care and self-love to make sure that you are fulfilled and that you are happy, and that, you're able to help other people. We can't help people when we ourselves are depleted. And so for me, if my teacher doesn't have a teacher and their teacher doesn't have a teacher, then I'm probably not as interested in working with them. For me, that's really important. And don't get me wrong, I know people that just give, give, and like that's really nice and that's beautiful. But at the end of the day, like, you have to do your own work. And in the end, that makes you a better provider, a better healer, a better person.
Beautiful. We get a lot of that same theme in various manners through the interviews. So,
Mm,
and that was one of our goals, and that's why thank you for joining us today. Was we want everybody to feel relevant. We want them to be, contemporary with their information, and have a network of ways that they can reach out and look for additional information and help elevate themselves and their practices every day. I agree with you. It's an everyday action set of actions that we need to use to keep ourselves where we're healed and healthy, so we can put those blessings and graces out there for others. And
yes.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, same along the same lines, what advice would you give someone who is entering this profession?
Oh, I see a lot of these people because I train sound healers. I certify others to be sound healers. And so I'm actually, this month I've had two certifications, and I see a lot of people starting this journey. And some want to do it for themselves, some want to do it for their animals, some want to do it for other people. And so, one bit of advice is like, be flexible. You have no idea where this is going to take you. Where you think it's going to take you today is probably nowhere even close to where it could take you in a couple years. Like if you interviewed me while I was at Royal Caribbean thinking that I was going to be here talking to you ladies, I would have been like, what? You just never know. So be flexible, just be open-minded, and just go with the flow. Like, and I just say yes. Like if somebody wants to do a podcast, yes. Like if somebody wants me to do an event, yes. I find balance and boundaries, of course, but just dive in. Just be part of the community, meet people that are like-minded, find people that have the same thought process as you, or somebody who's has the thought process that you want. So you have these goals to get to that point. But yeah, just be open and just enjoy the ride. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be partly painful. It's going to be great and happy, and you're going to find a lot of gratitude at the end of it and during it. So yeah, that's my experience.
Love it. Love it. And, to complement that, what books do you recommend? What books have brought you to where you're at, and how could they possibly help others?
Yeah, I'm really into the chakras. So I like Anodea Judith books, Eastern Body, Western Mind. That's pretty much my little Bible, I guess you could say. So any questions, any imbalances can be found within the chakras. And I love talking about the chakras. That's a whole nother episode we could do. But that's my go-to, really. I also have a book about disease, about what imbalance, like you look up the illness or the diagnosis, and it'll tell you some of the imbalances that it could be caused by, and it'll also have affirmations and mantras that you can repeat to try to balance and decrease the symptoms of that. So I'm really into that kind of thing. Those would probably be my two go-tos.
Thank you. And my final question is, where can somebody find you if they are interested in a session or service that you provide?
Sure. So you can go to attunergy.com, and under the sound healing tab, you can book a sound session for an individual, group, or corporate wellness. I also have another tab for women during pregnancy and labor, which is a new service that I offer for home births and birthing centers. You can also connect with me on Instagram, or you can shoot me an email at hello@attunergy.com. And I
Thank you.
also have a YouTube. So I have some sound healing videos on there, as well as tutorials as to how to play sound bowls and other healing instruments.
Wonderful. I think I'm going to have to jump on there myself. Well, this has been our standard question set, and I thank you for answering and being with us on this piece of it. What I'm going to do right now is, Jessica, it's been fascinating for me. I learned from everybody we talked to. But I'm going to turn you back over here to Tracy. We have our social media questions. And by that, I mean Tracy gathers up questions from our audience and our folks in our Ready Set Reiki group. And she boils them down, and she has 3 questions for you. So, Tracy, I'm going to give Jessica back to you for now and let you go on with that. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Jessica. So we have some questions here from our viewers. And the first question is, when you first received your attunement, how did you know that you connected to this Reiki energy?
Interesting. I don't know if you have to I don't know if there's like a symptom or some sort of thing that happens and you just know. But for me specifically, just my experience, I can feel like tingly in my hands. And that's kind of just how I felt this connection. Also, it's good to receive Reiki before you get your attunement and before you decide to get your certifications, because then you kind of know like what that process is like, and you can feel what Reiki feels like. So I would say, go to a couple Reiki sessions, see if you can feel that energy, and what that feels like to you. And if that feels good, then move forward. But I think that it's just being able to connect with your intuition and your heart, and just knowing that that's the next path for you.
Wonderful. So, our second question comes from a viewer that has post traumatic stress and asked, I have post traumatic stress. What could I get out of a Reiki session?
Oh, yeah, I see a lot of this, and it's amazing that this person is interested, because I feel like there's a lot of relief that is available through this. I can't tell you what you'll feel and what you won't feel, but what you could possibly experience is just a deep relaxation. And how I feel after a session is just lighter. I just feel like a layer has come off of me, that I just feel a little bit refreshed, a little bit more clarity, a little bit more peace. Like, all right, I got this. Like, we're good. Finding the practitioner that really resonates with you is important. And going into the session without expectations is key. Like, not being like, oh, if this doesn't heal me, it doesn't work at all. Really trusting that Reiki energy goes where it's needed, how it's needed, in the amounts that it's needed. And after one session, I would say at least try 3 sessions before you really like judge it and have an opinion about it. But I would say that at the very least, you'll feel relaxed and supported.
Wonderful, wonderful. Our last question is, do you work with any archangels?
No, I don't specifically. I remember a while ago, Archangel Michael, like I was working a little bit, but I have done some guided meditations to meet my personal guides. And
Yes.
so I have a guide, John, and I call on God. And so those are pretty much my two go-tos, I would say.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love it. I love it. Well, that ends our portion of our social media questions. So thank you so much. So it is this part of the journey that I'm going to take it right back to Millie.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Jessica. Jessica, it was really wonderful just to meet you in
Yeah,
person. Yeah, your kindness and your energy always came through our transactions, and
thank
it
you.
was so nice to somehow I feel too that we are guided intentionally to various things, and I was
Yeah,
guided to you.
yeah,
So
so funny.
that's my shopping angel took good care of me. Thank you so much.
We all need a good shopping angel.
Yeah.
We do. We
Yes,
need one
Etsy
to find
Angel.
the best, yeah, the best services, the best of the best buys.
Thank
So
you.
thank you again. And one thing I like to leave our audience with when we basically wrap up a session is I have a little tagline, and it is to see beauty in everything is a choice.
Mm.
So please choose wisely. So Tracy, I am our co-guide. We're co-guides. I'm losing my mind. We're co-guides on this journey. I'm Millie Pampina. Thank you for joining us. And Tracy.
And I'm Tracy C. Wright. And if you are interested in submitting a question, check us out on social media or check out our website at www.readysetreiki.com. But thank you so much, Jessica. It has been an honor and a privilege. And we thank our viewers for listening. Make sure to follow us. This has been Ready Set Reiki.